All right. So fast questions, John. Here you go. Really quick. First thought that comes to your mind. First answer that you get. Best final girl.
Sydney Prescott.
100% all the time, no doubt.
100%. I mean, Laurie Strode, she's also there, but Sydney Prescott, she embodies what it means to be like, because she was based off, she was she followed in Laurie Strode's footsteps, you know? So like, she was built on all of the final girls to make the final girl, you know?
She's from Scream for any listeners who don't know. And Scream was written as like somewhat of a spoof on all horror movies because Wes Craven's
commentary. Yes. Kevin Williamson.
Commentary, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
Yeah.
Not a spoof. Scary Movie 1, that's the spoof,
that's a spoof
on Scream. Yeah.
But yeah, Sydney Prescott, she's the love of my life.
All right. Next question. Best horror comedy.
Best horror comedy, I'm going to go with... I would say Scream, but I don't consider it a horror comedy, even though it is a horror comedy.
I was about to say, it almost counts.
It is, but seeing it, I got to see it on a big screen in the theater last night for the first time ever, and people were laughing so hard, including myself. And I was like, oh, this is a true horror comedy. But I really do love, oh my God, I'm blanking on horror comedies because I love horror comedies, but Cabin in the Woods, I also love.
Oh, yeah, Cabin in the fucking Woods.
So
John,
good.
you'd show me that movie.
Yes, it's so good.
Yeah.
But
I haven't seen Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, you know which one just popped into my head though? The original What We Do in the Shadows. Great.
I guess, does that count as I don't know if that's horror. I feel like that's almost just straight up comedy.
Well, it's yeah, but it's like in the realm of horror. I guess
like dark comedy.
I fucking love that. That is a great mockumentary. And the show is really funny too.
If I can give my
Please.
thoughts, my two were Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is hilarious and spooky. And the first A Haunted House. I think the first A Haunted House is way better than all of the scary movies.
I actually have never seen A Haunted House.
You should do That's wild. It's good. It's really, really good. It's the Wayans brothers, and I think it's grounded way more than the scary movies. Because, dude, the scary movies got, like, ridiculous. Like, Scary Movie 2 is pretty funny, and then after that, they just got out of control. But I think A Haunted House and Shaun of the Dead, those would be my...
I have one. I'm sorry. Freaky. Freaky by a landslide. It came out last year. I absolutely love that movie. It's Vince Vaughn, Catherine Newton. They body swap. He's a serial killer, and she's like a final girl.
Oh yeah.
And they swap.
I saw the trailer.
It is great. It is so good. Dude, I love it.
I'm so glad you reminded me about that because I wanted to see that really bad when I saw the trailer, and I can't believe we hadn't even talked about it.
You were gonna love Vince Vaughn's performance, in particular.
I'm so excited.
And it was written amazingly by Michael Kennedy. He's so good. Chris Landon, he directed. It's such a good movie.
Yeah,
that one.
What a great concept too. The hot chick, but instead of a criminal, he's a fucking psychopath murderer. Like that's so good.
Yes.
I'm excited to watch that now that I remembered it exists.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite, I know these are supposed to be fast questions for John, but now I want to answer
it's all right.
Because I fucking love Behind the Mask, the story of Leslie Vernon. That's a mockumentary. Have you seen that, Logan?
No, I haven't seen that one.
I think I've told you about it though. It's a mockumentary about the guy who is he's a slasher killer. So it takes place in a universe where Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger all existed in this slasher verse.
Okay.
And this guy, Leslie Vernon, has allowed us to document how and so he's a regular guy and he treats it like a regular occupation, and the tropes are hilarious, and it's so well written, and the way I just fucking love that movie. Also, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, because it's absolutely hilarious.
But I don't think, is that a horror comedy? I feel like that was just like, maybe.
I think they tried to be real serious about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very self-aware. It's like it knew how low budget and bad it was, but at the same time, it feels like it's trying to be creepy and scary. And those clowns are pretty fucking creepy to me.
Those clowns, they do be killers.
Oh, also Ghostbusters, which would be a good one.
I think I consider that more of a comedy, but it has creepy moments.
Hey, was that Halloween Horror Nights? Horror comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters actually has some pretty,
it has some creepy moments for sure. The whole like final act is reasonably creepy.
And Sigourney Weaver does a good job.
Yeah. She's fucking creepy.
And can we talk about Sigourney Weaver in Cabin in the Woods? Because she'd just be popping up everywhere.
God, I know.
I know. I recognized that voice, and then she walked out.
Yeah.
I'm not. Wait, Logan, did you see it? You didn't see it.
I haven't seen it yet, but I know.
Okay,
I
I'm
mean,
not
I
saying
know.
anything.
I know the whole
He knows
premise. Yeah,
all about what it is,
but
yeah.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm
Well,
sorry.
then
It's
Sigourney
the
Weaver
internet.
shows up.
Yeah.
as the final cameo.
All right.
It's
Two
okay.
more quick questions. Number one
Very quick.
is I want you to think about this one. Of all the slasher killers, who is the best slasher killer? The best slasher killer character?
While John's thinking, I was just gonna say, do you mean best as in like it could beat all the other slashers in like a brawl?
No,
or
no,
best
no.
as
Just
in, like,
most
for
interesting,
viewer
most
pleasure?
engaging, most entertaining,
Okay.
coolest concept. What all of those things. The number one best.
Okay, for me, I will say it has to be Michael Myers, and I'll tell you why. Because especially in the original films, it was very like he was the epitome of the boogeyman. He didn't really have a motive as to why he was doing what he was doing. He was just pure evil, scary as hell. The mask, great, super effective. Because, like, blank white, you can project whatever you want in there. He's always going to catch up to you. And he's like hella strong and like doesn't die for some reason. Um, I'd say, but for entertaining though, like Freddy Krueger, he's like really entertaining, of course. But you know, Michael
Oh,
Myers.
yeah.
Michael Myers is like
It's tough.
That's true.
Yeah, I think presence-wise, I agree. I mean, like
Yeah.
presence in the movies, I think it's got to be Michael. But most just like intriguing character, I think you would say Freddy or Jason, one of the two, because they're like Jason's look is just phenomenal. And he automatically has that going. So
but he didn't get that look until the fourth movie.
it's very
Third
true.
movie.
Yeah,
So
the
That is
third
very
movie,
true.
third
So
movie.
yeah, and does that then water down his whole presence? Because
I actually like the look of Michael Myers way more, though. I've always kind of had a
Yeah.
soft spot for Michael Myers as one of
It's
my
so
favorite
simple.
slashers, just because the plain white.
Yeah, it is.
It's the expressionless face, and like it's all that just creeps me out. Jason looks more like a monster. Like when you take the mask off and he's like all zombified, for some reason it's way scarier to leave it as a blank expressionless face. And he's coming at you walking fast, but like
Yeah.
he doesn't have any emotion about the fact he's about to murder you. I
Yes.
don't know. You could say the same thing about Jason though, because his mask doesn't have emotion.
No,
Right.
but I feel he's like underneath.
Yeah.
yeah, but that's a pro for Freddy Krueger in that he
Yeah.
like the character loves the scariness of what's happening and he engages in that, and there's like this childlike fun to it.
Yeah, he almost became a caricature of what he was originally intended as, like as the movies went on. But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like I would say most entertaining because he's got his one-liners.
If Pennywise counts, then I'm biased and I would choose Pennywise, but I don't know if that counts as a
counts.
slasher villain.
I would
Okay.
say he does just because he's on the poster behind Logan.
That is true, but so is the Velociraptor from Jurassic Park. So
And also a horror movie, which I might add, Jurassic Park is a horror movie.
the
It's a
first
monster
one,
movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
the first one, dude, as a kid, terrifying.
Yeah.
The kitchen scene alone, terrifying.
Yeah. The
dude.
fucking raptors.
The kitchen scene, and when the fucking sheep lands on the goat lands on the roof of the car, the bloody hoof, like, yeah, that's a fucking terrifying movie.
Or when Jeff Goldblum is laying all seductively.
Also
It's scared
terrifying.
how horny.
Like,
Horrifying.
yeah, exactly. That
Yeah.
you get every emotion. You can be horny with that movie. You can be scared, horny and scared. My constant state, my only state of beings.
Very true. All right, last one. What's the best horror TV series?
Ooh, that's good.
I know what mine is.
The first thing that came to my mind, and I would have to agree with it, would be The Haunting of Hill House. I really just fucking love that movie or that show.
I agree.
Oh yeah, that's a show.
Yeah.
When you mentioned that earlier, Logan, I forgot that was a show. I thought it was a movie.
I know. I fully agree because, like I said, the fact that it's a continuing TV series or an episodic series, but it's some of the like most
Best storytelling?
startling material. Yeah, most startling material and best storytelling in horror. I think like
Mike Flanagan.
Hill House is unbelievable.
He's a genius, and also I think what makes horror so effective is when you care about the characters and like the fucking like writing on that show is so good.
Like if I can just, dude, I know you haven't seen it yet, Andy, but I'm just gonna geek out over this one fucking scene. The first time that young Nell is laying on the couch, and the fucking bent neck lady is right on top, dude. I
It's
pooped.
Bent neck lady.
I pooped.
Oh, I shit all over. And I'll tell you, Logan being at the Halloween Horror Nights haunted house based off of Hill House, they have that scene in there, and the one in Orlando makes you feel like you are underneath her, which is really cool.
No.
It's fucking scary.
Well,
But then
that's
when you
cool.
learn about that scene later on, it makes it even more heartbreaking. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, and that's the dude, and that's the thing. Hill House, Bly Manor, the thing that I tell people is like, it's horror, but you're not supposed to be scared of the monsters more than you're scared of like what the characters are feeling. And by the end of the show, you realize that like the trauma of the characters is far more terrifying than the ghosts or the monsters or whatever. And that's the whole point.
Perfectly said.
I would have said Stranger Things because I haven't watched a lot of horror shows.
No,
so
but yeah,
that's
it's
my
still great.
answer.
Love it.
Dude, the first season of Stranger Things is also pretty
The
spectacular.
first season is fucking perfect.
Yeah, it's pretty spectacular.
I actually loved the third season a lot.
It was good, but I don't think I almost, part of me wishes it would have just ended after the first season. It's a perfect like start and close to an anthology type thing. It would have been interesting if they did make it an anthological show. I think that was the original plan, was each season was going to be its own new thing. I could just be pulling that out of my ass.
You
but
did pull
it
that out of
seems
your
like the
ass because
Did I?
you did only because the Bible for the show is online and you can see, and they had a plan for I think 3 seasons.
Oh, okay. That's cool. I want to look at the show Bible.
I should send it to you because you'll love it. But it seems like a show that should have been like contained with each season. And I think now that they're talking about spin-offs,
Yeah.
Oh, they are?
they are.
Yeah. Of course.
Which is, I think the rumor is that like 11 is going to get a spin-off, even though she's like the lead character of the show.
Strangest thing.
The
she's also, like,
even
26
stranger
now.
things.
Even stranger thing. They just put the word even on in the beginning.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what The Walking Dead is basically doing.
Yeah, I know.
Which
Fear The Walking Dead.
which just announced today they're doing an anthology show spin-off of The Walking Dead.
Jesus.
How do you make an already established universe that has 3 shows into an anthology?
And a comic book.
Oh yeah, and a video
But I mean,
game.
it has 3 shows within that whole universe. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I'm glad I stopped watching.
You know what disappointed me about the second and third season of Stranger Things is the thing that disappoints me a lot about some horror things is when the first one is creepy and spooky and it's horror themed and it does everything that it wants to be. And then when it gets bigger, it becomes almost fantasy. And that's what I talked about that with the 2 It movies.
Oh, also, because the first season has the mystery. You don't know what the monster is.
Right.
And as far as you know, it's only one thing. It's just this one monster. But then in the second season, when they open up a whole world and there's
Right.
dogs, that are demodogs,
Right.
and an even bigger monster, it just takes away from it.
Yes, and also it's like nothing is as shocking anymore, it seems, because now we've seen like the mind flare, we've seen the biggest, or so we think, and so like when it was smaller and contained, it was scary. It was spooky, but I mean, there is so much more to that show and that franchise than like what was scary about it. Like we all loved it.
Yeah,
for the
it's not
nostalgia
just
and,
horror.
like,
It's
you're right, and the characters
Right.
and everything. So
So it's like the second and third season focused way more on just the 80s nostalgia than they did on the horror.
Right.
And I guess that's all right, but
Yeah. But I'd say the same thing about, I think the first season of American Horror Story, is spectacular.
It's so
And
good.
then the show is watered down by having crappier seasons as the show goes on.
Yeah, I mean, it becomes like fan servicey at some point where when the fan base becomes so big that like it just falls into like pop culture-y almost. But
Yeah.
yeah, like that for the first 2 seasons of American Horror Story, I absolutely love.
Yeah, the second season's decent too, but I think that first season is like,
It's awesome.
it's spectacular. Yeah.